watching it come down, watching it come down.
What's up, guys? Peace and light. It's Traveling Sister. If this is your first time joining the channel, then welcome. If not, welcome back, family. So today I have a really important interview. You guys, this is a piece of information that could save y'all a trip, save y'all possibly thousands of dollars. But before I get into it, I just want to thank every single person who's been supporting this channel, liking, subscribing, sharing the videos, whether you donate monetarily. Thank you. Big ups to all of y'all. Thank you guys for supporting Peter and Abdul and their efforts in the mines. You guys, like all of it is appreciated on both ends. If you have any questions, be sure to check out travelingsister.com. I will send the link in the comment section below or the description section below. But other than that, let's get into it. I got the brother Biggs here. So just tell them about yourself a little bit.
Hi, how y'all doing? It's a pleasure to be on your channel today, Traveling Sister.
Yes.
Big fan from a long time. I'm Biggs. I've been traveling in Africa for a few years. I'm from Jamaica originally, but I grew up in London, spent some time in New York, also in Europe. I was in the music business for many years and also the entertainment business. I met the mother of my children in London in university like 15 years ago. My oldest daughter is 14 now, so like 16 years ago now. So longer than I expected. And that's what introduced me to Africa on the whole, but especially Tanzania. And the first time I came here was like 15 years ago, and I got to what my ex-mother-in-law, who's still my mother-in-law, we're still really close, my ex-wife's mother called the Africa bug. You know, I fell in love with Africa, so I started kind of gearing up towards moving towards Africa and things like that. So I've been here this time a year and a half now in and out. I've been coming to Tanzania for I spent at least 3 to 6 months a year in Tanzania every year for the last 13 years.
That's what's up. So you're pretty familiar with Tanzania. Yeah, so you've been coming back and forth for a minute.
Exactly.
So with everything going on in the world right now, post-COVID, well, I can't even call it post-COVID because I don't even know what, where that stands with the rest of the world. But I know last year we saw a big influx of people coming out here to Tanzania, whether they were relocating permanently or whether they were relocating temporarily, waiting for other countries on the continent to open up. So with that being said, some people stay, some people go. That's travel. That's relocation for you. But lately, I've been seeing a lot of families who were intending to permanently relocate here to Tanzania go, But it's been a lot of disappointment because, people come out here expecting to set up shop, to set up their life, and they end up having to leave. Like, in your opinion, what's one thing that is causing people to leave?
I think, like you said, the mass exodus came after the outbreak of COVID-19. So many people, for any conscious black person, I guess the aim has always been Africa. But more people were geared towards West Africa, Ghana, few to Gambia, etc., etc. So a lot of people have been researching for 2, 3, 4, 5 years about relocating back to Ghana. Mm-hmm. And when the Corona thing came, that was kind of like the last kick. And they took that same research that they did about Ghana, and many people made the assumption it was the same thing here. So like you said, there was a mass influx. We've been here a little while. There was years, I tell people all the time, there was years if I ever saw a black British person or a black American person, it was a very unique experience. And you'd be like, yo, what's up? We have to talk, because you just be meeting a lot of white people and never any black people from the diaspora. Mm-hmm. But now you can't go to a cafe or KFC or Pizza Hut or any bar without seeing a whole group of African Americans and black British, which is an amazing thing.
Right.
But I feel like people didn't do their research about what Tanzania is. I tell people all the time here, but I guess it's like this all over the world. It's pay to play. Like, nothing's free here,
Right.
So I don't know why some people don't realize that. It's the same all over the world. I think a misconception a lot of people have, and this is my humble opinion, by the way, is that we are coming home. Historically, this is our home. This is a motherland, and we are children of this continent. I don't feel powerful more anywhere than when I'm on this continent.
Right.
But we are still foreigners. And a lot of African Americans, I feel, in my opinion, as I say, and black British and black Europeans, get disappointed because the local Tanzanian population still perceive us as foreigners.
Right.
You know, then there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but a lot of people don't realize, for example, when you get a house, you have to pay the agent who gets you the house. Sometimes it's up to 1 month's rent.
Always.
So they budget for a house for 6 months, not budgeted for that 7th month for the agent. Schools cost, hospitals cost, the kind of food and snacks that you're used to, the brands that you recognize, especially if you're here with a family, your kid's gonna pull for a box of Pringles. They're gonna pull for that Oreos. A packet of Oreos is 3-4 times more expensive than it is in the States.
Exactly.
And you have to bear in mind, it has to be shipped in.
Import
there's
costs.
a clearance,
Yeah.
there's stamp duty, everything like that. So you have to be prepared to compromise. What I do with my kids, like, my kids love it here. They never leave, but they laugh at me sometimes and they say, oh, you're cheap, because what I do is I give them the local snacks, which is the same thing. It tastes pretty much the same, and sometimes it's better because there's less processed sugar,
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like a pack of Pringles every now and again, but with the biscuits, with the chocolates and stuff like that, I buy the local stuff because it gets easier to stay longer. Like, you can't be spending the equivalent to $8 on a packet of Oreos.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
real. And it's like, you know, I really want everyone to bear in mind that, you know, when you're buying things, like, because, okay, I've heard the gripes like, oh, y'all said it was cheap out there. Yes, it can be cost effective for you to live here,
course.
depending on your lifestyle. If you come wanting to live the Western lifestyle, no matter where you're from, you're going to pay for it.
Of course.
You know, you're going to pay for it. And once you get into that groove of paying for it, then you look up and half of your life savings is gone. You know what I'm
I've seen
saying?
it.
So you guys, like, it really is a whole lifestyle adjustment out here, you know? So you really have to keep that in mind, and you got to budget for it if you want to live that same lifestyle that you were living in your home country. Another thing that I see with diasporans leaving is another reason is visa issues. You know, you guys, technically I'm not a visa immigration officer or anything like that, so I'm not legally allowed to give you advice. But what I will say is, if you want to do business, you're gonna have to get a business visa. If you want to stay, you're gonna have to get residency, you guys. And I hate to break it to y'all, but like, it's not always the best route to get a student visa. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say.
And just to cut in there, what happens with the student visa, it was fine. For years, the little few people you'd meet, student visa was fine. There's so much of a mass influx now where I have friends in the immigration department and friends in different places, and they say, like, we notice the influx of you guys coming in. So all of a sudden, there's 1,000 African Americans and Black British in Dar es Salaam who want to study Swahili. That goes on their radar, you know. So the immigration laws apply here just like any country in the world. A lot of African Americans and Black British complain to me like, it's like they don't want us here. I said, of course they want us here. It's not the issue, but these people can't just move to England. These people can't just move to America without getting the right permits and visas. So that's how it is here. So for example, the work permit, you need a work permit and a residence permit, and you have to register a business. The cost for everything is nearly $5,000, and sometimes it's more, and that only lasts for 2 years. For women, it's different. Women can get married. It's different for men and women here. If a man marries a Tanzanian woman, he can stay, but she can't claim him as a dependent. A Tanzanian man can claim an American woman or a British woman as a dependent. But that also only lasts for 2 years, and there's a cost to that. There's a volunteer visa. There's a cost for that also. What happens is Ghana was, because they had that year of return, and they realized, like, you know, there was a lot of money that African Americans and Black British and diaspora bring into Ghana. Like, their economy jumped by like 9% after the year return and keeps growing because of the influx. So it's easier to relocate to Ghana. I wouldn't put anybody off coming to Tanzania, because to me, the rewards are worth it. It's an amazing country. Once you understand the pace of life, the nuances, you know, it's an amazing place to live, and I'm sure you'd agree. That's why we're here. Right.
That's why I've been here. December is going to be 5 years. Like, you know, and yes, I understand I'm in a completely different situation because my husband is Tanzanian, so I have ease of access to a lot of different things. But, you know, I still urge people to do their research, which, you know, is coming to my next point. people are leaving. It's a mass influx of people leaving Tanzania because they are not properly doing their research. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people have unrealistic expectations about what the lifestyle is like here. And
Exactly.
y'all know I harp on this almost in every video, you guys, about, you know, what to expect and the whole romanticization
Of
thing.
course.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, when it comes to the cost of living and housing and things like that, you guys, you can't expect to get like a 6-bedroom mansion for $150.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like you have to really do your research, and you have to be financially prepared. And what I also urge you to do is have either some type of side hustle, have
Exactly.
some revenue coming in. It's great that you bring your savings, but it's just gonna keep depleting
Of
if you
course.
don't have something sustaining yourself. You
Facts.
know. Yeah, so I wanna touch a little bit on cultural differences as well, because I feel like that is a huge factor in making people leave. You know what
Sure.
I'm saying? And just kind of people's unwillingness to
Bend,
accept or
yeah.
bend. You know what I'm saying? To bend to the culture. You know, because like it or not, like this is their land.
Of course.
Like it's not, you know what I'm saying, you don't have any rights here as a citizen. You see
course.
what I'm saying? Yes, naturally we are from the continent, as the brother said earlier. This is our natural home. This is our original home, the whole continent.
Sure.
Not talking about the colonial borders that they've
Exactly.
imposed. The continent, period. But it's things about this culture that we have to learn, we have to accept, or it's not going to be an easy transition. So what are some of the things that you want to tell people about, like cultural differences?
Right, yeah, there's a lot of cultural differences, and there's also a lot of things that we're very similar in. Like, so for example, I'll start with, I used to live in Ethiopia. I spent a lot of time in Ethiopia, and what I realized was the difference. I'm Jamaican originally, but I feel like African Americans, Jamaicans, Black British, we're similar in the sense where we have been bred. We're really not a natural people. So in the sense where that's why we win every 100 meter, every 200 meter, every 400 meter. The heavyweight champion of the world is always going to be a Jamaican, an African American, or a Black British. Like there's reasons that we rise to the top, and it's because we've been bred. It's Darwinist science. Like the weak of us died out because of the slavery, and the colonialism was so intense. You couldn't survive if you were weak. So when I was in Ethiopia, I realized what we are endurance people. Fast, speed, punching, straight to the point, heavy impact. They are long distance. We've never been able to master the marathon or the long distance. So it's an Ethiopian or a Kenyan or Eritrean or someone from this coast in Africa. So I feel like there's so much things we can teach each other. But back to the original point in with Tanzania. There's slight cultural differences which are huge, and I was explaining to the sister earlier off camera. Trust me, it took me years to adjust to some things. You know, things like concept of time. You know, things like time here. Time is not money, so time is money to us. But here, time is not money. Time is time.
Right.
So someone will tell you 12 o'clock, and turn up at 4 or 5 or even 6 o'clock, and they're still cool with that because they're like, well, I turned up. You know, what I do now, as explained to our brother Jesse, real cool brother, moved here with his family like 4 months ago. He was having a real issue with it, and I say, if we have a meeting at 2 and you're not there at 2:30, I just leave. I don't get angry or anything. If you call me at 5 and say you're there, I just tell you I'm not there, and that way I feel myself getting angry less and less. And I moved to Africa to always feel angry.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The concept of time, it took a while, and I'm still adjusting to it, you know, to be completely honest. I'm still adjusting to just I guess I can call it like a lackadaisicalness. You see what I'm saying? But, you know, it's just the natural flow of things. It's just how the
Exactly.
people are out here. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes time for everything. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Don't expect anything to be on your time.
It's not immediate. Things are not
Yeah.
immediate. Another thing here is a concept of truth. So this is something I must admit, I give credit where it's due. Like a lot of these things I learned from my ex-wife's family. You know, my mother-in-law, one being because she was an English woman who have moved out here from the 70s. She's lived here for like 40 plus years. So we have a similar perspective, and she can break it down in language that I understand. You know, so I used to feel like there were a lot of lies here, and she would say to me like, no, it's not really lies. they just don't want to disappoint you. So I said, all right, that took me some time to understand. So like somebody would tell you they can fix something when they can't really fix it, and then to me that's almost like a lie. But
it's a lie. Yeah, in my mind it's a lie. But I know exactly what you're talking about, because I'm not gonna put you on blast, brother. But I have someone who I've been working with, a really good friend of ours, and they would constantly be late, constantly be like, I'm coming. And one day, like, we just had a conversation, like, yo, what's up? Why you be lying? Yo? Why you say you on the way? And he's like, honestly, I just don't want to disappoint y'all.
Exactly.
And I'm like, but us from the West,
Exactly.
like we respect the truth.
Exactly.
I know I do, so.
Or it's a concept
Yeah.
of the truth. This is a total paradigm shift. I feel I've matured a lot in the last few years, so life is a lot easier for me here than it was before. It was a heavy transition to start with. Like we say, cultural differences, they don't have certain nuances that we have. Life here is really good, This is people don't starve here.
It is.
So that get
Exactly.
up and this, like, anyone can go to a lot of their neighbor's house and eat a meal. We're from a
Right.
background where you can't really do that, so we always got to go out and get that meal for ourselves.
Right.
So it's just like our concept. It's a total paradigm shift, and it
Right.
takes some time to realize that. Like, the people here are real laid back, they're real cool, they're real
Right.
friendly, they're real loving. Like, to punch somebody in the face out here is almost like you shot somebody. It's equivalent of shooting somebody to us. Like, it's a massive deal. People never forget that. People fight here and they just tussle, they hug, and they roll around on the floor. And you can guarantee 8 times out of 10 at the end of that fight, they're friends.
Yeah.
Like, they don't really hold grudges like that. Where we're from, like, we fought.
That's
It's like,
years.
you're up
40
now.
years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we fought,
For
and
real.
that's it. Like,
Yep.
they don't see it like that. Things like concept of personal space. I mean, it's different scenarios for the men and women, I guess. I see them, a lot of the diaspora women have issue because men here will just grab onto your arm and
Straight
stuff
will.
like that. And then,
will.
it depends on how you react to that stuff. Like I tell my girl as well, you got to know how to react, because it's still a country where you don't really try and go out your way to disrespect men like that. If a man grabs you, of course, that's not fine, but there's ways to react for it. With the men, it's a different thing. Concept of personal space. Like, we're from a kind of environment where, it's so ingrained in us, the whole anti-homosexual thing, and that's because the buck breaking we went through as slaves and stuff like that. So we're constantly aware of someone trying to rub up on us and things like that. Like, that doesn't exist here. So you be somewhere and a dude will be sitting and his butt's in your face. Like, you be standing at a bar and there's a huge space on the other side and a tiny space in front of you like that, and the dude will choose to rub across you and pass that tiny space. Shit like that used to make me real mad. But
Right.
shit like this used to make me real
Yeah.
mad, and I just had to get to a stage where I was like, are you gonna be mad here or are you just gonna live?
Right, like, cause when I first came out, like, I realized that's the first thing I realized is that personal space is not a thing here.
Not a priority.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. I would be on the dollar, and that's where you really get
Of
in it,
course.
for real. That's where you get it. Like, I had people sit their babies in my lap. I had
Yeah.
people put their butts and their everything in my face. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking like, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
But they're just like.
They're
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're just in their
Exactly.
own world, and it's not a thing. I'm just like, okay, I'll just turn my head and just
Exactly.
keep it pushing, And about the grabbing the arm thing, I had a guy do that to me. I met a guy. It was one time I had met up with him, and he saw me walking on the street with Freddie, and then he was like, hey, and he grabbed me. I'm like, who the, you know what I'm saying? Because for one, I didn't even recognize his face, so I'm snatching away. I'm like, who are you? Like, what are you doing? And then he was like, oh, you don't remember me? And like, at that point, that's when I realized, like, because when I snatched away from him, he looked so surprised
Of
and
course.
almost hurt.
Of
And
course.
that's just how they are. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying ladies, like, let some man just grab all up on you. Like, establish those boundaries.
Exactly.
Even now, I establish those boundaries. I'd be like, hey, I still snatch away.
Of course.
Don't grab me. Don't you ever.
Of
You
course.
know? So it's just learning how to handle those situations when they arise, because they will arise.
Of course
They will arise. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit up here and say that, like, things don't happen out here. Like, people get assaulted, people get, things taken from them, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's not on the magnitude
that we're used to.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
know
a
what
very
I'm saying?
safe country, and that's what I said.
is,
If you
yo.
can make it work, then I don't find there's nowhere better. Like the inner peace you can get here. But as I said, there's an important word, nuances. You have to just understand the subtle undertones of the place and the country. So this trip now, I could give an example. So I meet people all the time like yourself. Like so many people reach out to me and ask advice about this. And I tell people, listen, my first 4 months that I was here, I slept every day till 1 p.m. I didn't do nothing. I drank water. I wasn't saying I was living a healthy lifestyle, whatnot, because I wasn't. I just slept a lot. I drank a lot of waters. I drank a lot of beers too. I sat down and observed. This was this time around. I've been here many times before, and I've lived here before. But I knew I was coming for a longer term thing. Before I had a job in the music business in the UK and in New York, so I always knew it was an in that thing. So it's different when you're on holiday. It's an amazing place to have a holiday, by the way. I tell people, come for 3 to 6 months first before you try and do anything. Right? Understand the culture, understand the people. Once you even have a slight grasp of the language, life's a lot easier here. Once you start understanding the culture and the people. We are black people. Africa is our homeland, but sometimes I feel like this concept of blackness is a European concept imposed on us because we are not one vast sway of one people called blackness. There's a 10,000 different people make up the continent of Africa, and they're as different from each other as people from France are different to people from Slovakia, as people from Oregon are different to people from New York, or stuff like that. How Canadians are different to people from Texas. It's that big of a grasp of difference. So don't come here with the concept of blackness and I'm black and it's one blackness and we're just slipping in.
Exactly.
You have to figure out how to live. Like, if you can make it work, you can make it work. But do your research. Because like the sister says, there's so many people have gone to the wrong lawyer or asked advice from the wrong person. Or this and that, and I've lost a lot of money and have to go. We see it all the time, and especially the bigger families, because like I said earlier, you have to take into consideration schools cost, right? African Americans and Black British don't want nobody beating their kids. There's good local schools here that will cost you next to nothing, maybe $300-400 a year that teach in English, but they'll beat your boy's ass if he's out of control.
He'll be out of line,
And I see a lot of parents that don't like that. So if you don't like that, you're gonna have to send your kid to some white school that's gonna cost about $10,000 a year. So you'd have to bear all those things in mind.
Yeah, it's true, and I want to touch on what you were saying about the concept of blackness. Like, it's so many different things that encompass blackness, and so many different. Okay, like, let me put it in perspective. There's 54 different countries throughout Africa, but guess what? In Tanzania, the people from Arusha are very different than the people from Dar, than the people from Tonga, than the people from Mbeya, and each region has its own type of thing, and people have their own accents, people have their own way they live, culture. Their own lifestyle, the culture and everything. So when you come over, and you've studied, you studied different African cultures, and you try to apply that to here in Tanzania, it doesn't necessarily work. Because what I've seen, not knocking anyone, what I've seen though is a lot of people study the West African culture, study Yoruba, study this and other, and they come out here, they come out here to Tanzania trying to talk to the locals about it, trying to impose that. There's no Yoruba people here.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna look at you like, I don't know what you're talking about, you know what I'm saying? And so when you try to take different, like he was saying, when you try to do your research about Ghana and all that and apply it to here, it does not apply. Same goes for vice versa, you know what I'm saying? So, I urge you guys to just really come out, keep an open mind, really network, okay? Don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to network so that they can give you the numbers of the good lawyers, the good dalalis, the good people to work with, because straight up and down, people are going to see you as a dollar sign. Of course. Like when you come out here and you don't know anyone and you're just asking random dalalis or random people, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna see you as a come up, you know what I'm saying? And it still happens to me, because I don't know Kiswahili 100%. I'm getting there, but I'm not completely fluent. So you're gonna have to take your L's sometimes, but they're not even really L's. they're learning
Learning
lessons.
curves, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So you just really have to keep that in mind. And when it comes to starting a business and everything, because I understand that people want to get their life set up. Like I said, you have to you have to have some type of residual income, whether it's, big or small, whatever the case may be, you have to have it. So I know a lot of people are eager to come, get on the ground, start their businesses right up, but I still urge you to do your research about what types of business would be profitable here, what can be lucrative. You can't just come and open something that you want. You got to think outside the box. You got to assess exactly, does it work? Assess the needs of the people. What's your target market? Is it for us diasporans? Then you can probably do something that would cater to us. But if you're looking to broaden your horizons and broaden your customer base, what are the needs of the locals? What are the needs of, who's your target market? Do your research. Okay, that's gonna save you a lot of money.
Big time. And then also what you have to realize, I learned something traveling, right? So I'm a smoker, so this won't help non-smokers, but smoker will understand this. I'll give you another example after for the non-smokers. How you can judge most countries' economy, actually all countries' economies, I've traveled all around the world, is a price of a pack of cigarettes. Okay? So a price of a pack of cigarettes in England is about 14 or 15 pounds, which is nearly 20 bucks.
Oh my God.
A price of a pack of cigarettes in the States are like 12, 13, 14 dollars. A price of a pack of cigarettes here is $1.50. Now, what that can make you understand is the economy and the value of money. So, for example, what I explain to African Americans and Black British all the time, $1,000 is not $1,000 here. $1,000 is 8 months' salary to somebody working the average job. So somebody who works in the bar in the States, they get paid what? Maybe like $1,500, $2,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
So somebody who works in a bar here gets about $80 a month. So bear that in mind. So stuff like going to the club, stuff like when you're meeting friends, stuff like when you're just going around in front of drivers and things like that for the first time. When you pull out $100, that's the equivalent in America of pulling out $1,000.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a $2,000 because that's a month's salary. A pack of cigarettes costs $1.25, $1.50 here. So you have to understand the value of money. The reason I mention that because the sister said they will see you as a dollar. And to be honest, we are a dollar. Many people that's come from diaspora, we're mostly low income or working class people and stuff like that, fed up with the degradation in the West and moving back here. But Africa costs, and it's a pay-to-play system. It takes you some time to start saving money. Like now, my car has been broken down now. Like sister said, you take a L sometimes. Like the first L I took in a long time. After like a year, I'm like, damn, I ain't had an L in a long time.
Yeah.
I took an L with the car. No problem, it's a lesson. Like I knew I was doing something wrong, but I was so busy. I just left my car somewhere I shouldn't have left it. The car's just not working anyway. So I said, it was an old car. I'm not going to act like it's a new car that they fucked up. It's a very old car. Lasted way longer than it should have lasted anyway. So I'm still grateful for the car. It got me from A to B for a long time. But you have to learn how things work here. Like, the place is the place. The only difference is you're here now. So the place ain't going to change for you. You're going to have to change for the place. We've been conditioned for 400 years to a certain level of expectations. We're hard workers because we've had to be, right?
Yeah.
So here life is a little bit easier. You don't have to punt through like that. The aggression that we've needed to survive, it is not needed here. It actually backfires. Like, we need to be aggressive in the States and London in order to wake up another day. Here it slows you down because people don't mess with you. This guy's too rough. This guy talks too. You have to know how to speak to people here. People spend 2-3 minutes greeting each other
They
here
literally do.
before they start a
For real.
conversation. So you
Yeah.
can't just go up to somebody and ask him the price of something without spending a minute greeting him first. So I just find there's ways to slip in the culture. As I said, you take an L every now and again. I'd much prefer to live here than anywhere else. If you figure out how to make it work, it's paradise. We're surrounded by black people. Some of the major issues we face in England and America, the institutional racism, especially you guys in America, being murdered by police.
Yeah.
In the UK, similar thing, not so many murders, but just the institutional racism where, young black boys 8 times more likely to be stopped by the police. All our men flooded in prison, like a lot of our women lost and things like that. this place gives you the space to be yourself, and there's
Yeah.
space to grow. That whole mainstream institutional racism, which kind of puts a ceiling on top of our heads, that is removed here, but then it's replaced by other things. So you just have to figure that out and realize.
The balance.
I always say, this is not home, but it's a place to build a home. So I don't know if you all understand what that means, but we don't have a place to build a home in the States. You know, like Jay-Z's song, rich nigga, poor nigga, like there's no niggas here. You know, it's African people in Africa. So I wouldn't put anybody off coming. I just had a lot of people lost a lot of money, made wrong decisions, didn't speak to the right people, didn't bear a lot of things in mind when they were coming up with their financial calculations. When you're coming up with your financial calculations to come here for 6 months or a year, I'd say put 25% separate for miscellaneous costs.
Yeah.
Because them miscellaneous costs sure as hell gonna come up.
Yeah. Them foreign taxes,
Right?
as I call it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and foreign taxes
Yeah.
and miscellaneous costs. So
Yeah.
just budget for that, you know, and I wouldn't tell nobody not to come or change your ideas about coming here or this. I prefer East Africa to West Africa, but that's my personal opinion because I'm from the Caribbean. I find the culture here is a lot more conducive to somebody with a Caribbean mindset. You know, we're in the Indian Ocean. It's beautiful, the beautifulest sunsets I've ever seen. Oceans are clean as hell, look like drinking water. Some of the best people on earth. Good food. Bring your own seasonings, by the way, because they're not big on seasonings out here. You know, a lot of people come and they complain they can't find this season.
Bring
Pack
your
your own
Obey.
seasonings. You know, bring
Yup.
your yeah.
Bring your obey. Yep. So, you guys, I think, you know, I think that, actually, I know that this is a great place, you know what I'm saying? I know that you guys can find home here, find a sense of home, a sense of belonging, but you just really have to come with an open mind, you know, budget yourself out, budget your finances out, you know what I'm saying? Just try to keep everything that we've talked about in mind, because I don't want to see y'all go. You know,
Exactly.
especially when you planned to stay here, it's always disheartening when I see people leaving
Me too.
because they didn't have a good time.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, I don't know how many other ways to tell it, but like you got to do your research. You know, you have to really know that this is your move and your move alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't look at me, don't look at none of us YouTubers and think like, oh, that's how my life is gonna be. We're out here putting examples like, hey, you could do this, you could do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, but your journey is yours and
Your
yours
journey,
alone,
exactly.
and you got to make sure that it sits right within spirit before you come out here. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
You know, and like I said in my last video, you got to do a little bit of healing. You know what I'm saying? Before you come out here, or address the things that you know you need to heal about. Don't come out here thinking that, you know, this is just, like I said, a magical place where the ancestors are going to just swoop down as soon as you step off the plane and, you know, all of that stuff. It's not. Take that romanticization out of it.
I feel like it's the
Yeah.
people who come with that mindset who are actually leaving. You know, it's the people
Yeah.
who come with that mindset and have all these, you know, words that they're saying and
Right,
ancestors.
the
Of course,
keywords.
exactly,
Yeah.
all the buzzwords. Those are the people I find that's leaving. You know, of
Right.
course our ancestors are here. We all have 1,000 people
Right.
behind us, right? But it's like,
Yeah.
Africa is a spiritual place. Yeah, and I always say, I feel like you don't choose Africa. Africa chooses you.
Right. Ooh, we say that again. for real.
Exactly. You don't choose Africa.
Yeah.
Africa chooses you.
That's the real, for real. It's the real. And you know, and if Tanzania doesn't work, it's 54 other countries,
Exactly.
53 other countries. You know what I'm saying? Explore, you guys. But just know that it's not all what are you
Bed of
peaches?
roses.
Yeah, bed of roses. That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for. It's not what you think that it's gonna be. You just gotta come out here with an open mind and an open heart, willing to learn, you know, and not having that mindset that like, oh, we gotta come teach the Africans.
No
and
way.
Da, 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 da. We have things to learn from each other.
lots.
I'm not gonna sit up here and say that they don't have something to benefit from our knowledge coming from the West, growing up
Of
in the
course.
West, but we have a lot more to learn from them than they have to learn
A
from
lot
us.
more.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you guys, I'm gonna wrap it up, okay? But I just want y'all to keep that in mind. Don't feel discouraged.
No
feel
way.
encouraged.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Put this in your tool belt. Things to look for. Things to, you know what I'm saying? Things to prepare you for your trip. You know what I'm
course.
saying? Whether you're relocating or you're just coming out to visit, like it's very important. Very important.
There's lots of us here, and there's lots of us here surviving. There's so many stories of it working. You know, it's just a lot of people who I find are leaving are people are here with the big families, and it's understandable. There's, as I said, we discussed earlier, the factors you have to bear in mind: hospitals cost, schools cost, all these kind of things. And it's just a place on earth. You know, Africa is not a museum. Like, it's not Wakanda. This ain't Black Panther. The place ain't fueled by vibranium. There's an economy, there's a GDP. You got to get up, work, hustle, and understand the people first of all, and understand yourself. Like the sister said, we're here to heal. I mentioned earlier, I spent 6 months sleeping till 1 o'clock. But I don't do that. I'm an early bird, you know, so I'm an early riser. But I just knew I had some sleep to catch up on. So as in Europe, and between Europe and New York, working in the music business, sleeping 3 hours a day for like 4 years, I had some sleep to catch up on. So I slept for like 4 or 5 months, 11, 12-hour days. And then I felt I was ready, then I jumped out the cage, you know, so yeah.
Yep. And as the brother said out here, like, there's a lot of people really living their lives and thriving. You know what I'm saying? Single people, couples, and people with families as well. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not that those people are just lucky. You know, it's that 9 times out of 10 they've done their research. They know exactly what they want. They know, you know, they've probably had their L's as well, but it's endurance as well. You know what I'm saying? If you get frazzled by the littlest thing, then it's not for you. It's not for you. So you guys, like I said, that wraps it up. Please be sure to visit travelandsister.com for travel tips, Q&A type of thing, like, you know, the most frequently asked questions. If you want to book a consultation, it's actually on the website as well. So, you know, just be encouraged, beautiful people, okay? Like, it's a beautiful journey if you let it be. All right, so that's it. So that's all I got. Love y'all. Peace.